Hello there everyone, this is Nick from CSN Report and greetings from Florida, as well as CSN Stuff It. Today's the 13th of June and I went to see Jurassic World the movie today, and this is just my quick roundup. This is my initial impression of it, and before I get into it, I just want to give you a little background on me. I am a huge dinosaur fan. I have been a huge fan of Jurassic Park since I was little. I've played the video games, I collected the toys way back when. A lot of kids, when they were little, had stuffed animals or blankets that they kept as security devices. Mine was a small T-Rex that I named Elvis. It was one of the original first release T-Rex toys from the original Jurassic Park toy line, and my parents still have it to this day. And it's been a big part of my life. Now, there have been a lot of things that have been really disappointing over the years. Like I said, I played the games, and there have been a far too few tolerable Jurassic Park video games, and a lot of the extended universe that surrounded it has just been blatant, painful exploitation of the license. So I'm just going to do a quick recap over a good deal of this, and I'm going to cover a couple little things beforehand just as they appear relevant. But overall, this film was astounding. It was the single greatest motion picture experience I have had since the original Jurassic Park came out, and the original is the only film I've ever seen in my life in the theaters more than once. And I think this one I will definitely be seeing this one a couple more times with a few more people. I first heard about this actually just very recently this year, just a few months back when the trailer was originally released. I hadn't heard anything else because I pretty much just stay out of any talk relevant to Jurassic Park because it's only led to disappointment in my most recent experiences. And when it came out, the trailer came out, Christian called me up and we were talking for a while, and he said, "You know, there's a Jurassic World movie coming out." Really? I was really quite surprised. I figured they would just leave the motion picture franchise alone. The last one really wasn't very good. I own it nevertheless, but there's been a steady degradation in the films, and it's been pretty noticeable. But when I saw the trailer, me and Christian both came to the conclusion, you know, this could be either really, really bad or really, really good. And just from experience, I've said, said to myself, it's probably going to be pretty bad. Because the last three incarnations of Jurassic Park that I've seen is a really mediocre phone app. Actually manages, like the films, to get worse as time goes on. Plus the terrible comic book series that came out a few years ago that was just infantile as far as writing, and the artistry was shameful. It really was just god-awful. Yeah, it was a god-awful shoehorning of a bunch of characters with a very weak storyline, just sort of binding them all in the same location with something relevant to dinosaurs. And on top of that, we had a video game came out a couple of years back for the Xbox and PlayStation, and that game really was just a series of interactive cutscenes. It's like a fan fiction writer came up with a side story to Jurassic Park, and then he couldn't get it approved to make a film out of, but he got it licensed to make a non-canon game, and that's about what it was. So that was awful. Just about everything that's come out with Jurassic Park's label on it the last few years has been really bad, and the trailer didn't really do it justice. It really didn't. I came into this expecting something around the level of Jurassic Park 3 and not much more. I saw some of the toys that they've started releasing out that tie in, and the Jurassic Park toys have been getting not only less interesting but progressively smaller. And now we have just I don't know if this is a complete toy line that they have out in stores right now, but whatever it is, it's just ugly. But I don't know what they're going to do with that. Now, the base storyline is a pretty simple thing in this movie. It's the idea of combining the genes of different dinosaurs into a big, spectacular thing that attracts more attention to the park, which they actually did this plot concept in a previous toy line that I owned a few of about 15 years ago, give or take. So it's not exactly anything new, and it isn't ridiculously creative. The idea that the park was somehow restored and put back into beautiful operation on the original island, that I absolutely adored. I've always said, this world needs a dinosaur theme park, and then Christian says, Nick, did you see Jurassic Park? Did you even see it? You're like, so what? The failure in Jurassic Park was industrial espionage. And that isn't quite what the failure was here. It actually is a genuine, it goes back to basics a little. And I think the real lesson you take away from it is a note about playing God. It really delves more into the aspect of a life form's rights, and that while you can try, you can't really control a living creature. And they take different sides on this issue. You have one of the main characters, Owen something or other, I forget his name, but he's not cast as a returning character of Tim, which I had been told that, oh no, Tim's that gatekeeper kid shit. And I kind of scoffed at that, because that's just going back to shoehorning in characters from previous movies with very little reason, and it just wouldn't really make sense. The only returning character in this one is actually Dr. Wu from the first film, and it actually makes sense because he's the motherfucker that designed the dinosaurs. He should be here designing more dinosaurs. There's not many people that have experience, so yeah, that makes perfect sense that they would have him there. Dr. Wu, he really doesn't look that great in this film. He lands more on the side of science just going wild than fucking with nature. And they use him very effectively, I think. He's more just sort of a minor side character, a footnote character in the first film, when he was a lot more in the book. Then again, he died in the book, but nevertheless. They make good use of him in this film, and they even use him to correct some of the questions and inconsistencies and errors. Like, we have a lot more understanding now today than we did 20 years ago when it comes to dinosaurs. We have a much better knowledge that at least a lot of theropods were heavily feathered and had various different display patterns and whatnot. So the visual image that we have from the original movies genuinely doesn't fit anymore as we've grown on, but they still maintain the same image today, even though we know it's factually inaccurate. And it was even partially addressed in Jurassic Park 3. But Wu actually kind of straightens all that out while being a badass at the same time and defending science. And he's getting criticism for engineering the Indominus Rex, and he just goes all out badass, like, motherfucker, I've been engineering motherfucking dinosaurs here since day one. Every single dinosaur I have here is a mutation of at least 2 different animals I didn't make a single dinosaur. Everything here is a mutation that looks cool. And like, he just lays it straight out, like, which just does cover the fact that they are scaled and not feathered. And it also sort of addresses the fact that if you did hybridize the genetic code of dinosaurs with a frog, as they said in the first film, then you would get a definite more amphibious, reptile-looking animal as the end result. So that makes a little bit more sense, and they definitely go into it in some of the more minor details of the designs of the dinosaurs. I really loved a lot of the practical effects here. I believe that a lot of the shots that they took full advantage of the capacity for practical effects and made it wherever possible. The only times I think they used, and they did use quite a bit of CGI, is times when practical effects just wouldn't have looked appropriate. So they used a very good mix match and delivered a great result. Will it sustain the way the original film did? I don't know. The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, those still hold up pretty well, so I have high hopes. The acting was done very well. It really does address a lot of the problems that you've seen in the other films, like needlessly shoehorning in previous characters, as I mentioned. They don't do that. They have all new characters, with the exception of Dr. Wu, and all the characters have really been very well done, and you're going to enjoy them. Even the ones that you're supposed to hate, you're going to enjoy hating them. A lot of the scenes in the computer room, unlike the original, are not completely outrageously done. There are no weird software hacker computer programs. It all seems to work very efficiently and reasonably and effectively. So they have a lot of interesting attractions and concepts. I really like how they brought back the bird cage from the third movie, which was actually a concept that was in some of the original Jurassic Park games, which it was really good to see that done again, though they didn't go into too much detail with it the way they did in the third one. There was a lot of stuff covered. Additionally, one problem I thought I'd have an issue with, the mosasaur. Now, I watched a video which went into explaining that what was viewed in the trailer for the mosasaur, the large crocodile-like swimming dinosaur, they did some measurements and came out with a calculation that the size of the mosasaur, if you view the shark that's fed to it as a great white, then you would get a mosasaur that's head was actually just slightly shorter than the entire length of the actual creature's largest known fossil. But when you look at some other size comparisons throughout the movie, you can see that it is roughly to scale. It was good to see that part straightened out a little bit better. It's not a spoiler to say that there is some romance, because it's pretty clear that the male and female lead, there's some sort of romantic link there, and they don't hide it at all as soon as they get on screen. So it's there, but it's not like overly there. It leads up to a kiss, and that's about it. Not terribly contrived. We have two kid characters in the movie. You see them in the trailer, and no, they don't die, which, I'll tell you what, I saw a trailer, I saw kids getting attacked inside one of those little bubble cars, like, ooh, I'm going to like this. But no, they don't die in there. And it would have been cool if they had, like, really going to the edge, but I can see why they wouldn't. At first, you see the older boy, and, like, he's just an absolute little shit, and you think, I'm going to hate this little fucker. But he gets he gets his ass straightened out pretty quick, and he actually develops into a character that you can really enjoy through. Once his life's put in danger, he straightens his ass out real quick, and the kid characters no longer really seem to be annoying. It feels just about right for what you're going for here. You do get a replacement character for John Hammond, which, well, the actor's dead. It would make sense that the actual character he played would have died in all this time too. I mean, pretty sure that they don't really say it outright, but I'm pretty sure he died in the second one anyway. But you get a replacement for him, and he's a totally likable character. He really carries the charisma, and you fall in love with him just as easily as you do John Hammond in the first film. And he actually takes the side of respecting the dinosaurs as living creatures and animals. And while does have an investment in a theme park, it really is a pet project to him, the way John Hammond wishes it had been the first time. You get to like the character a lot more for that. And there's a lot of personality in him. You have, of course, an engine master, Engine, the bioengineering company, who, yeah, you're not going to like him very much. They did a really good job of making him interesting and despicable. Little snidely whiplash for my taste, but he fits in. But I think the best thing about this film is just how all the parts came together. They avoided so many easy tropes that they could have just gone for, and it would have been just another run-of-the-mill blockbuster movie of mediocre quality. Originally, even though the script called for the fusing of or genetic engineering and combining of different dinosaurs and animals, which is what really made me just go, ugh, because I've been there, bought that toy, not exciting anymore. But it would have been so easy to go with a dinosaur that had been hybridized with humans, and apparently an earlier version of the script had called for that, and that would have been god-awful. Thank goodness they had the insight and wisdom to say, you know what, that's a stupid idea. Let's not do that. I was really glad to see that. They actually explain why they go and put certain elements of different dinosaurs and creatures into the Indominus Rex. And I think the design is really fantastic. It could have used a bit more sparkle, but I think what they came up with was something reasonable, but still excruciatingly badass. And whenever the dinosaur's on the screen, it instantly has your attention. It's not just the, hey, look what we got gimmick. We went up the T-Rex and we got this brand new badasser dinosaur that they did in Jurassic Park 3 with the Spinosaurus. There isn't even a single image of the Spinosaurus, well, there might have been some toys or something, novelties, but they don't put any Spinosaurus in there. So that was good. Just leave that shit out. And this is probably one of the things that makes the film all the better in its nature, because you do see the dinosaurs really as other living creatures. You get into them in a different way. That in the first Jurassic Park, you're just so amazed to see them for inside or outside of the film, but in this, you really do see them as animals. And you look at them being raised and trained as part of the park's attractions, and it's a really respectful way they went about it. And you could say, like, oh, they're buying up the cheese for the gimmick, but you know what? It really was well done, and I felt a good connection to it. We have the guy playing Star-Lord as Owen, whatever the hell his name is, and his big thing throughout the film is these are animals. You got to understand what their mentality is, and that's what makes him such an asset through the film, that it's not just attractions, or you really do connect in a deeper way. You get closer in there. And whenever he interacts with the raptors, it's never like, oh, it's just trained raptors. You can see that they're like just teetering on the precipice between control and out of control. Like with one wrong move, this guy could be shredded to confetti, but he keeps his P's and Q's minded. He shows them the proper respect, and he's able to achieve things with them that other people can't. And so when you see him like just working with raptors or hunting with raptors, it doesn't feel like, oh, yeah, this is kind of cool. It's like, ooh, wow. Because it could have been just so easy to just go, oh, yeah, they're trained like dogs. But they don't act or react like dogs. They are very twitchy little monsters, and it really gives you a more impactful experience. Additionally, great use of practical effects. I really think that they made the effort to go and practice. I haven't watched it over and over again at this point. I'm going to do a closer inspection my next time watching it, but every time they could without really compromising the visual, I feel that they use practical effects and were quite often very successful with it. I might make a couple of small comments. There's this little subplot that's put in there, and it's really kind of shoehorned in there, and it's really kind of useless and really just could have been done without. This whole subplot about the two boys who happen to be the nephews of the lady who manages the park, about their parents getting divorced. It plays a little bit of a role in their interaction up until the point where shit goes crazy, and then it's pretty much all but dropped. And they try to go with some, oh, there's going to be resolution. They're not getting it's not really gone over anymore, but they really didn't need to be in there. It really could have been dropped. It's also a little heavy on the violence. Some younger kids, more fragile kids, might not be quite so okay with it, but I think they'll survive it. I mean, overall, it is pretty intense, but it keeps your excitement going all the way through, whether child or adult, and it really is just fantastic to experience. They make good use of the dinosaurs they have in it right towards the end, and you do see the T-Rex come back for a really cool scene between him and the Indominus Rex, which I really did enjoy. There's a lot of raptor fighting. There's a lot of collateral damage as far as people getting attacked by dinosaurs, which that's the draw. That's what gets your energy going. There's lots of throwbacks to the original films too. Really puts you back in that mindset. I mean, I've occasionally cried at films, but I've never been so happy to be moved back into a state of mind from a film that it almost brought me to the edge of tears, just because it really was like seeing it again 6 years old in the theater. It brought back that awe and wonder, and it really just a fantastic work. There are so many places this could have gone wrong. There really were, but it was clearly a real passion for whoever was writing it and directing it, and everything fell together beautifully. There were minor side notes, and I'm kind of on a high right now, so I might be overhyping it, but a lot of people are absolutely loving this film, and I tell you what, go out, go see it immediately. Settle for nothing less than 3D. If you can, see it in IMAX. If you can, see it in IMAX with one of those 4D seats and 3D glasses. And anything you can do to enhance this viewing experience will pay off. It was brilliant. It's worth every penny. It's a mix of avoiding bad ideas, taking mediocre ideas and doing them extremely well, and just coming out with some really creative, just fun things that just make you, they get you involved in the film and in what's going on, and your suspension of disbelief falls away almost immediately. It grinds into you right away with they go off the reservation with the opening scene is of a raptor being born. It really keeps you. I really can't wait to see it again, and I hope you all get a chance to check it out. I think this movie could actually save the field of cinema, because it didn't take shortcuts with script and story that you see over and over and over again. It comes out better on the other end. So, get a chance, check it out. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to try to go see it with Christian, and we'll get, if we can't get Saw, and come back and do another film on it. But this is just my initial reaction to viewing it. I'm probably going to end up going back and watching the other films just to keep the high going. But until next time, this is Nick signing out.